What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL. This is the Season 2 Toilet Bowl. This is our round 1 of our Toilet Bowl bracket. So for all of us teams who are down in the dumps about not making the playoffs, this is our chance at redemption. This is our chance to make a name for ourselves, to be sitting on top of that porcelain throne at the end of it. This is what we came for. Seriously, I think this should be a really good time. This is basically like a makeshift playoff bracket for all the teams who weren't in the playoffs. We have 3 best of 3s for you guys today. I think they should be really interesting. Elephant in the room, if you watch my videos a lot, this screen or this like background behind me is not the same as it normally is. A lot of times I use a green screen, but basically, long story short, I'm having an issue with mine. It's not even a real green screen. I made it for like $5 total. I bought a couple of green pieces of foam board from an office store a long time ago, and I've been using it for months. So if you need to make a green screen for low money, that's how you do it. It worked great. But now to this point, it has like a crack down the middle, and I don't like it. So I'm shopping it. I'm getting rid of it for now. I might get an actual legit green screen someday, but for now, we're doing the actual real legit background, the actual room that I film in. So anyway, let's get into the stuff that actually matters, the Toilet Bowl. So we've got 3 best of 3s for you guys today, and these are matches between the Heinler division versus the Rundal division. This is how we structured it. So the Heinler 8 seed versus the Rundal 9 seed, the Rundal 8 seed versus the Heinler 9 seed, and the Heinler 7 versus the Rundal 10. We'll note really quick, Jebba and the Sappers actually did bow out of the Toilet Bowl bracket, which means All Smoked Up and the Gloomy Gods gets an automatic bye into the second round. They do not need to play anybody because his opponent essentially conceded. So 3 best of 3s for you guys today. This should be a lot of fun. Let's jump into them. First preview for today for our Toilet Bowl matchup, some Rundal versus Heinler action here. On the left side, we've got Catra of Sandrock of the guild Lapis. Ended the season with 6 points with a 2-7-0 record versus King Delita of the Black Sheep Knights of the guild Hokuten. Currently sitting there with 9 points and a record of 2-4-3 overall at the end of this. Looking at these matchups, a couple of things to point out. Just trying to look to see if we have any sort of like mirror matches here, and it doesn't seem like we have any sort of mirror units. So that is one thing. Because we are doing Rundal versus Heinler matchups, it is possible that some units could be on both teams, but I'm looking down the line here, it doesn't seem to be the case for these 2 teams, so should be interesting. On Catra's side, he's got Esther, he's got Psaro, Setia, Prompto, Moraga, Winter Venera, Silma, Curry, Gafgarian, Sosha, and more the merrier. And King Delita has Flagbearer Glassy, King of Leonis Mont, Terra, Agrius, Farouche, Mashri Winter, Fina, Helena, Adelard, Vadim, and Renan. Throughout the season, King Delita has gotten a lot of success out of his Flagbearer Glaciella. 6 of the wins that he has are from her, so most of the points that he has scored has come from her. It would not be at all surprised to see him bust her out this week. And from Catra's side, the most effective unit that he's had over the season is probably Psaro. Even though he does have 10 losses, he has gotten the most wins out of that unit. So wouldn't be surprised to see either one of these in this matchup. And let's jump into it. All right, guys, game number 1 here on the left side. We've got King Delita's Flagbearer Glassy showing with a major elemental advantage over the Moraga showing for Catra on the other side here. So do we see the Psaro coming out with Moraga? What do we see here? That is a 140 Yuffie. Yuffie is most certainly not on Catra's team. So unless I am completely lost my mind here, I think there might be a slight issue with the team, but let's see how this battle plays out here. We've got Proclamation coming out from King Mont, so he's going to get his own hate up. Yuffie's going to walk straight forward. She's not going to go for any buff or anything. And this very strange ninja-looking Psaro does not deal a ton of damage to the King Mont. The Moraga is going to pop Immortal Spirit, get his Courage online, as well as nullifying, I think, paralysis and one other buff here. What is Vadim going for? Blurs the screen briefly. It looks like he goes for a limit break, but is actually just popping Shadowcast to get his evasion up, while King Curry's probably going to channel a Mega Charge. That is what it is. Only 667 damage. My goodness, that is incredible. Yuffie with the standard attack dropping 3,400 damage is decent damage. Predictive counter does 4,799 as Spinning Slash. Actually does manage to hit the Yuffie, so decent accuracy coming out from King Delita's side as Glaciella Flagbearer absolutely drops this Yuffie and says, hey, you're not supposed to be in this battle, so go ahead and get out of here. Ruinous Axe comes out, a little bit of damage while getting his Man-Eater up, but honestly, it looks like Catra is up against it here. I'm not sure how he's going to be able to get through both King Mont and the Flagbearer Glassy. Honestly, with this map, without being able to pop bells on Curry, with Yuffie walking straight forward, I feel weird saying Yuffie walking straight forward. She is very clearly not allowed in this match. Armor Piercer comes out for some damage. What's going to happen here? Sorcery Shear dodged by the Vadim. This is not the first time we've seen a dodgy Vadim coming out from King Delita. Always hilarious to watch here. As Frostmaw Barrage comes out from Curry, does he land any Frostbite? Only on the King Mont, not on the Flybearer Glassy, who seems to be the major threat here. And King Mont, with no AP, is just going to standard attack the Moraga. Moraga starts the battle with a physical barrier, so you can see how effectively he actually is tanking a lot of this physical damage. But there's just not enough damage on Catra's side. This should be a pretty slow bleed here from King Delita. What I will say, as the reflex comes in, impressive that King Delita's winning this battle against an illegal 140 Yuffie, because Yuffie's a beast of a unit, as King Delita wins it 3-0 in game number 1. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, for the playoffs and the Toilet Bowl, I am trying my very hardest to not watch the matches beforehand. Sometimes during the regular season, I do watch some of them beforehand because I record stats, and it's easier for me to record some of those stats beforehand. For the playoffs and stuff, I'm not recording those, so I don't really care. For this, I did watch this beforehand because I was tipped off by Catra. He said I might have accidentally cheated in his Discord match, and I looked and I saw the first few seconds of this. I said, how on earth can you accidentally cheat with Yuffie? And I have a screenshot that I think kind of explains everything here. So guys, as you can see here, I received this screenshot from Catra after the battle, I think pretty much exactly explaining what's going on here. So it was my mistake. I thought this was Yuffie the whole time. It was very clearly Pissarro. These two units just happen to look very, very similar to each other. Real talk, seriously though, Catra shot me a message and basically said that he conceded to King Delita before this series started, and basically he told him in advance that he was just going to mess around, that King Delita would automatically receive the win. I think he was worried, one, about having time for the next few weeks in order to get some of his battles done, and also didn't think that he had a very good matchup into King Delita. As you can see how good Glacial Flagbear did into his team in game 1. That being said, he did bring a couple of just fun comps for the first game, and he has one more game just for fun that they played. So I'm going to go ahead and show it to you guys anyway, just because it might be sort of entertaining. So let's jump into this second game that doesn't actually matter and see what happens. All right, so game number 2 here, we've got King Delita's Flagbearer Glassy showing again with another Moraga sighting for Catra, but I think this is a different team coming out from Catra here. Is he able to bring some sort of team that can bring pain onto King Delita's team, even if it is illegal? He's running double 140 fire units. And as I said before, obviously King Delita wins this series. Catra already conceded, but I'm glad he was straight up about it before the series started and just told him, you know, let's have some fun. So I'm glad these guys had a good time. So anyway, Beast Resolve coming out from the 140 Hio, and I think it was Agility and Luck buff coming out from Yuffie, if I saw that right, as King Mont's going to proc his own hate, so he's going to be able to draw aggro from the other team. Curious to see if this Hio can put any damage down. One of the brand new units, we haven't been able to see either him or Yuffie in the WDL yet, as the Lock TMR is going to come down from Vadim to get himself very, very dodgy. The re-raise coming out from Flagbearer Glassy, so she's going to be incredibly hard to take down. And Revitalize comes out from Hio, the Kylo Ren lookalike here with his lightsaber going on. Brumal Form comes up. This is going to nullify guaranteed hits. So not sure how many guaranteed hits there really are on this team. So I don't know how much that'll matter, but it'll be interesting nonetheless. As Vadim is going to try and get his evasion through the roof here, can he dodge any teams as well? And this King Mont proves to be a very effective tank, only taking about 400 damage from the Moraga on the first hit, dealing more back to the Moraga even with that barrier, as Triple Cross is going to not only remove Moraga's physical barrier that starts the fight, as well as his courage. Veiled Defense comes up, so courage, I believe slash stack and accuracy for Hio here. Fiery Banishment, 6100 damage, so Yuffie doing a decent amount here. She was actually able to buff herself up right out of the gate, actually able to have some AP. So Catra, can he win this fight here? Sorcery Shear going to drop the magic stat, which really doesn't do much, as the standard attack from Glaciella is going to drop the tank. But looking at the CT here, Proclamation comes out again from Mont, so he's going to proc hate. That means he cannot hit the Yuffie, and he must not have been in range to hit Hio, I'm guessing. Heat Drive comes out for only 3400, not a ton of damage, but can Yuffie chain with him and get some damage going. Fiery Banishment, again, 68-29. King Mont getting pretty low and has already used his self-heal as Dominate Heart comes out from Vadim. So it doesn't matter about the guaranteed hits thing, because that means if he can't hit, he's just going to go for a Steel Heart. And this works beautifully for King Delita. 8,000 damage comes out from Flagbearer Glassy as the Yuffie is charmed. They didn't bring the charm off of him. Hio's going to get a kill, but I think Yuffie's going to take out her partner in crime here. She is. She's going to go standard attack. Actually, just proc the courage. If Vadim goes for the standard attack, 2571 is actually a lot from a standard attack from Vadim. Did a lot more than I expected. Predictive counter 2282. Barrier break lance though. Flagbearer Glassy still an incredibly accurate unit, even up against a 140 Yuffie. And that is GG's. So even with Catra intentionally cheating with his team, bringing in a Yuffie instead of Pissarro, and then bringing in Hio in the next game, yeah, so I think that would be technically like a 260 cost team in our format. The 220 team from King Delita still bringing the pain and still getting the win. Hats off to him. I hope you guys enjoyed this series, even if it was, you know, just kind of for shits and gigs, basically. I'm glad these guys actually did play some games and sent them over to me. So that was a good watch. So the winner of this series plays against... I have to think for a second. I don't remember. We'll have to look at the bracket at the very end of this. I don't remember how exactly this plays out. I think because King Delita is the Rundal 8 seed, I believe he plays against Jesus LBL, if I'm not correct. I think that is true. We'll check it at the very end of the video, but we've got 2 more best of 3s to get into, guys. Let's jump into them. Before we do that, I just wanted to say thank you very much to Catra for playing this season. I really hope you had a good time, you know, over the course of the season. Enjoyed watching your fights. Excited to see you in Season 3. Thanks again for playing. And now we can jump into the next series. I think I need to get my eyes checked. All right, guys, our second series of the day, and I can promise you that these next 2 series, they are going to be actually fully legit series. There's no concedes or anything like that. I don't know the results of them, but I know that they are actually legitimate. So we'll have to jump into these and see what happens. Spike on the left side of my guild, Thunder Gods, Coach Bebop's crew. He's got Oberon, Resnick the Hoppy, Celis, Garvel, Luel, Raldor, Phoebe, Adelard, Little Lila, Mish, and Frederica. Unhindered of the guild, Eurekan Ward, Coach of the Storm Reborn, with Esther, Pissarro, More the Merrier, Little Lila Halloween, Rain, Tifa, Frederica, Phoebe, Sosha, Mish, and Urel. At the end of the season, Spike ended up with 14 points, missing out on the playoffs by just a few points there. Unhindered, unfortunately, was in last place in the Rundal division, but did manage to pick up a game win in both of his last 2 series here. Can he get some of that momentum going and hopefully pick up his first series win? We'll have to find out here. So for Spike, interesting things like going on over here, what he has succeeded with. 4-3 record with Oberon is pretty good, and 5-4 with Little Lila. 8-2 with Luel, though. Luel has been the absolute dominant unit of his team, if you had to sort it out that way. Will we see her today? I'm not so sure, because there is a decent amount of wind threat on Unhindered side. I think the only way that Spike goes Luel is if he also brings Celis to nullify some of that wind magic damage. Then again, on the other side, though, Celis is weak to Strike, and who is Strike on the other team? Urel and Tifa, so Storm Reborn has a couple of those options here. His singular wins are Urel, Esther, Pissarro, Frederica, Mish, and Phoebe. Wouldn't be surprised to see any of those units come back out again, since he did get a win with them. Curious to see what these guys bring out, and let's jump into the series. Guys, game number 1 between these 2 players. We've got Spike's Mish showing on the left and Unhindered's Little Lila Halloween on the right with a 3,400 magic stat, it looks like. So curious to see what comes up with the Mish. A number of different units could be behind him here. Pretty equal attack and magic stat. It's going to be Raldor and Celeste versus Little Lila Halloween, Tifa, and Phoebe. We have not seen Tifa a single time all season. Curious to see what Unhindered does here. He's got Phoebe, so does he run haste or speed force on her, or is it just quicken strategies? We'll have to find out. Celis is going to walk forward. She's got a runic up already, I believe. Pugilistic Mastery coming out from Raldor. Going to get a nice little AoE buff going on there. And what does Tifa go for? She goes Unparalleled Strength, so does not go for her courage right away. Basically goes for the offensive option, as Mish is going to use the Black Rose Helena TMR to give himself a nice little bit of bulk and some extra speed. being one of those lower cost units, his agility is not so great. So what is it? It is the Quicken. Unfortunately for Unhindered, I think you probably want to see this on Tifa rather than Halloween Little Leela, because this is going to be absorbed by the Runic. She's just going to gain 20 AP and completely shake it off. What can Celeste do here, though? Magic Burst, about 2,000 damage, so not a ton. Actually, half of it healed back up by the Tifa. What can Raldor do? And is this a dodgy Tifa? Oh my goodness. Goodbye, lady. You might have wanted that Courage Online. 7k damage is a ton coming out from Raldor. This is looking rough from Unhindered right out of the gate, unless he can get a full life, which actually this charge is probably full life coming out from Phoebe. Abyssal Mire coming out from the Mish. This is a guaranteed hit. I am curious. This could be a dodgy team coming out from Unhindered. Tifa and Little Leela Halloween both can be built evadey. Obviously not the most relevant evade units these days, but they can still be built that way. As the second tick of the Runic is now going to be expired here, Magic Burst comes out, cannot one-shot the Phoebe. That could be big here, but looking at the turn order, Raldor is probably just going to one-shot Tifa again. Demolition Fist comes out, 10k damage. Tifa's going to drop, and does Little Leela Halloween have full life online now? And if she does she go for it? Or did she just go for a heal? Abyssal Mire's going to hit the Phoebe. I don't see a way Unhindered can win this unless he somehow chains a full life immediately into a Tifa, like massive amount of damage. She's going to channel the full life, but I don't know if she's going to get this off in time. It is taking a lot of time for that cast time, but here's going to be the massive limit break coming out from Celis. I tried to combine Elegant Spinning Edge along with Celis, and that's what came out of my mouth. Not on purpose. Raldor's going to punch that little girl in the face. You should be going to jail for that. But that is a win for Spike in game number 1. This is a best of 3 though, so let's see who goes forward in the bracket by jumping into game 2. Game number 2 between these two players, Spike's Celis on the left with Unhindered's Sosha on the right side. So Unhindered definitely coming up with a switch up, probably not running Phoebe anymore. Curious to see what other units are in the back. I expect probably similar from Spike. No, I should have known better. Spike switches up his team comp almost every single time. This is a very magic heavy damage comp here coming out from Spike with the Celis, the Garvel, and the Adelard. So this could be an interesting tactic. Runic Blade coming out from Celis. Probably going to see some fast cast from the Adelard, just getting this team very speedy, as that is a lot of not a lot of lightning threat, but some lightning threat coming out from the Esther. She should be able to handle the Celis much better than the Halloween Leela from last time, although Halloween Little Leela is still here, so it'll be interesting. I'm not sure if I was Unhindered if I would have brought Leela again. I do like the Esther switch up though to try and get rid of the Celis. Maybe he figures if Celis can drop her, then Halloween Little Leela can start doing some work. Immortal Spirit going to come out from Esther, and she's actually got a good amount of AP here. Somebody who can be a little AP hungry depending on the map and what buff she gets off. Little Leela can actually not get damage off. That's kind of crucial because she's not able to use up one of the runic shots already. Magic Burst going to come out from Celis as she is hasted up from that fast cast, and now the Spirit Piercing rate up coming out from Garvel too. This is going to be a lot of damage coming out from Spike's side. So the Dragoon buff coming out from Sosha is pretty massive. It gives her a ton of really nice things, as now 2 units are sped up from Spike's side here. This is going to get absorbed by the runic ability, and honestly, I think 3 turns might expire before 2 runic shots go, because I'm pretty sure it is a 3-turn buff. I could be mistaken by that. Magic Burst comes out, not a ton of damage, and Garvel actually can't reach. I'm shocked. Can he not hit a jamming thrust? I'm assuming he must not have Red Mage sub job turned on. He would have been able to hit a jamming thrust there for sure, I think, unless he doesn't have the accuracy. Is this a ceiling thrust? Misses. That is what it is. It is a dodgy Leela. I don't think Garvel has the accuracy. Yeah, because he goes for Detonation Blast on those 2, deals a ton of damage. Esther is notoriously weak to magic. Celeste, can she get a kill here? Reflex coming out from Sosha is pretty big, but the Little Leela Halloween drops. Esther is going to have to do a massive amount of damage here. I just don't see how they're going to get around this. Spike's team is too speedy from those hastes. Silencing Jump, not enough. 3,500 damage. I imagine Esther will take her out with a Bolting Impact. She does. But Esther doesn't have Reflex in her kit. She does have Courage online. I believe she used Immortal Spirit early in the fight, so she's going to survive with 1 hit. But I think Adelard's just going to take her out on this very next turn. Spike is looking to punch his ticket into the second round of the Toilet Bowl, and he is going to do just that with the Ceiling Thrust from Adelard. GG's, congrats to Spike and Bebop's crew for making it into the top 8 of the Toilet Bowl bracket. Unhindered, GG's all season, man. It was very entertaining to watch your team all season. Thank you so much for playing in Season 2. I'm excited to see you again in Season 3. Sorry couldn't make it any further than that. But we've got one more series for you guys, and let's go check that one out. All right, guys, our final series of the first round of the Toilet Bowl features none other than Zathria of the Guild Lapis, coach of the Ghost Bloods, versus Mr. Aloha of Dead Society, coach of Pineapple Pizza. And in this matchup, Zathria's got Sylvie, he's got Knight of Runestern, Snow, Golbez, Whisper, Lastwell, Fina, Shadowlynx, Valade, Surges, and Lara Croft, as Mr. Aloha's rockin' Velis, Celis, Eliza, Glaciella, Moore, Barrett, Kilfay, Grace, Valade, Liarte, and Oron. Looking at how these teams matched up at the end of the season, Zathria and the Ghost Bloods ended up with 10 points by the end of it, and Mr. Aloha and Pineapple Pizza had 8 points. So this is definitely the closest in points, I would say, between two teams that we've seen up to this point. So it should be an interesting matchup. So far, every team who was better seeded has won 2-0. Will we see that for a third time? We'll have to find out. So in terms of this matchup, I'm very curious. Zathria and the Ghost Bloods have rocked a lot of evasion with the Shadowlynx throughout the year. 5-6 record, not bad. 5 wins for that MR unit. We've seen her kind of pop off a few different times. So be interested to see that. Do we see the Oron come out from Mr. Aloha's Pineapple Pizza? We know that this is his boy, his favorite unit. He finally got his first game win in the final win of the final week of the regular season. Will we see him again? One thing I can guarantee you we will see is some Valade. Valade is on both sides of this matchup. Both Zathria has it and Mr. Aloha has him. And Valade just got his 140. And if you guys haven't seen what it is absolutely bananas. One of his main buffs got really, really good. It now gives Protect and a bunch of other things. His cast time went way down to basically to the point that like everything he does is basically instant cast. So Valade was already pretty decent at 40 cost, and now I think he's going to be very, very strong. So I'll be not surprised to see them at all. And one thing I want to mention to you guys, because I don't think I said this yet in the video, I should have announced this. Throughout our Season 2, we were not allowed to reincarnate units whatsoever. We were allowed to transcend them to 140, but we could not reincarnate them. That was the rule. However, in the Toilet Bowl, we lifted that restriction basically to try and test the waters, to see how things would go, to see how much reincarnations would basically impact fights and stuff like that. And I can almost promise you that Mr. Aloha has a fully reincarnated Valade. He was talking about it in the Discord basically all week. So we are going to see one of the strongest Valades you can have in this series. Will we see the exact same thing from Zathria? I'm curious to find out. Let's jump into this game 1 of the final series for today. Alright guys, game number 1 of this series, we've got Zathria's Snow showing, and that is the Valade from Mr. Aloha. I promised he would be here, and I kept my promise. Please ignore the Discord icon up in the top left. This is just from the player's phone as it is being filmed. That is how we submit the games, so please try and not pay attention to that, basically. But let's jump into this fight. Snow, what else is coming with? Sylvie and Surges. Okay, so Sylvie, I have seen firsthand, is a very, very strong unit. Incredibly good heals, has full life, can bring the absolute pain for sure. On Mr. Aloha's side, we've got Glaciella, Wazette, Oron, and Valade. Bell's immediately going to be popped up from Oron as Glaciella did an AoE buff. Aurora of Blessings comes out from Valade, so not his big, amazing 140 upgrade. This is to try and get some light resist because Zathria does have a light and dark, units throughout his team. As the debuff resistance going to be upgraded for both Sylvie and Snow there. Snow is going to pop his own courage, so he is going to have to be killed twice, basically. As In Freeze comes out from Zathria's Surges. I'm trying to remember. I think that might be... I don't remember whose DMR that is. As Glaciella is going to pop her solo buff that gives her about 6 different things. Oron's going to walk forward. Says, I'm an ice unit, but this is a wind and fire limit break, baby. 4,100 damage. And gives himself a nice little shield, actually. So, can he resist some hits now that he has that shield online? Valade, what does he go for? So this is the massive buff. Ice resist, wind resist, and a bunch of other things. Actually, I take that back. I think that is not the correct buff, because I think the other buff is Protect, and I did not see that come out from him. So, curious to see if he messed with his AI at all, as Smite 2 comes out from Snow. Does not kill the Valade, though. He actually took that damage quite well, as a Leaping Assault's going to give Surges some regen and just do a little bit of chip damage onto the Glaciella. Some damage coming out from Glaciella. This Snow is hanging on, though. He still has Courage online. As Flurry counter comes out, this is actually kind of important because it's going to break 2 hits of that barrier that Oran has. I believe it is a 3-hit barrier, but this is probably a heal coming out from Valade. And again, that 140 buff giving him some major cast time improvements. Curious to see if he would have gotten that Cura off immediately. Probably wouldn't have mattered, though, as Sylvie's not going to go for damage. She's going to go for the limit break. This is going to give a one-time shield to Snow, heal him up almost to full, as it's about a 9k heal here. But the agility seems to be on Mr. Aloha's side as Triple Piercer comes out and Banishing Blade from the Oran. How much damage is this going to do? A decent amount. Still can't quite kill the Snow, though. And what does Surges have? He just goes for freeze. The big problem is here, his big AoE hit is a weird like cross-shaped pattern, and I don't think he can hit because Snow is in the middle. Oh my god, the counter comes out from Mr. Aloha's Oran, and Oran drops the tank. This is not over, though. Sylvie needs to get in to do some damage, but now here's where the cast time is going to be major, because Sylvie would probably go for damage here. She can't get it off in time because of that cast time reduction from Valade. Yeah, clever Paladin Strike. That 100% would have killed Valade. I think that 140 making the difference here in this moment. Lands the double slow on Glaciella and Oran, which is major. I don't think it would have mattered regardless, though. Dragon Fang's going to drop the Sylvie, so even without the heal, Sylvie wouldn't have killed them. Oh my god, but I say that, Leaping Assault doing a good amount of damage, and there's another counter comes out from Oran. I believe that is a 1 range counter from Oran. He would manage to hit that twice in the same battle. That is absolutely nuts. So GG's to both of these players. Mr. Aloha and his brand new 140 Valade managing to pick up the Game 1 win. Will we see another 2-0 sweep, or will Zathria bring it to a Game 3? Let's find out. All right, guys, in what is potentially the last game of this week, potentially the second to last game of this week, we'll have to find out here what is being brought out. There was no preview screen on this game, so we're just jumping right into it. Zathria with the 140 Valade. Also, there's a 140 Glaciella and Valade on the other side as well. So, yeah, both teams have their 140 Valade rocking right now. And I think that was a 140 Whisper, so 2 140 units on both sides. I will say, as Celeste gets her runic ability up and running, if this Whisper hits remotely like Surf Tacos does, Zathria is going to win this fight. But we'll have to see if she can put down the damage like that one. As the Barb Blizzara comes up, gives a bunch of really nice buffs. I am curious, though, with the AI here. Yeah, I don't think it's that buff. I was thinking it was that one that gives Protect, but I don't think it is. I think it is a different one, because I'm almost certain that his new buff gives Protect. I'm wondering, though, with the AI, was this tested out from these two players? Do they realize what the AI is? Is this what they did intentionally? I don't know. Hard to say here. Jamming Thrust comes out from Celis, not super commonly seen because she is the tank. A lot of times that can be turned off in order to get her buffs online, as the Aurora of Blessings does come out a second time from Mr. Aloha's Valade. So in the first time ever in the WDL, seeing a mirror match of units here, whose Valade can carry harder. Counter Sting comes out, some good damage onto Zathria's Snow, but that does hit her own Celis in the back. Not something she wanted to see, but Stunning Thrust does a ton of damage. Procs the Courage onto Snow. And can Valade get in range to heal? He can't. He goes for a Self-Protect. Wow, that is shocking. Power Break going to come down, just basically nerfing the damage just a little bit, but I think Celis is going to pick up this kill onto Snow. Goes for the AoE, does barely any damage to the Whisper, so she's going to hang on here. But can Mr. Aloha get through this? How much resistance does she have? Quite a bit. Surefire Burst only did about 1,600 damage, but I am expecting another Cura coming out from Valade, just like the first game here. He's going to start channeling something, and it is a Cura. What can Valade do? He's just going to sit here and buff himself. This is one of those really tough things with support units. If they are out of range to heal, sometimes they can just sit in the backline and basically do nothing. And unless this Whisper moves or the Valade runs out of buffs, that is not going to change. She actually steps one space back. That could actually end up being really important for Zathria, because Valade might actually be able to get in range to do something now. As Valkyrie Drive comes through, I've said it many times, it looks like a Naruto run from Glaciella. Only does 1,200 damage, though. This Whisper from Zathria tanking so damn well. Honestly, if Snow didn't drop so early, I would say Zathria has a really good chance here, but it's tough to say now, as finally Valade is in range now that she took a step backwards, lands the Curata. And this feels like a battle that could potentially go to turns, just because there's 27 actions left and there is a massive Whisper tank. I don't know how much damage she can do to the other side, though, especially with a sustaining Volade in the back. This Glacial is just having such a tough time chewing through her. But honestly, this Volade needs to get up and get a full life off. If he is able to do that, as Jamming Thrust comes out for 2800, it looks like Whisper no longer has hate. That could be pretty major here, because if Volade drops, he's not going to drop it, he's going to be stunned. And honestly, even if he didn't get the stun, he probably would have tried to heal himself instead of full life. This looks like it is most likely Mr. Aloha's game 2 win here. As the Bar Blizzard comes out again, I want to double check myself to see if the 140 upgrades are what I thought they were. I could have sworn that Volade had some sort of other AoE buff that gave like protect and a bunch of other things, but maybe this is just what it is and I'm mistaking it. I could be wrong about that. As Whisper's going to walk forward and do some damage. Glaciella took out the kill on the Volade in the back as I was talking, as Volade is just going to sit back and heal, and I have to imagine this battle is going to go to turns. He goes Dispel. I have never once seen that skill be used in a PvP fight. Demon Wall Esper coming out from the Celis, so you can see all of the dark and light resist that Mr. Aloha was planning, because Zathria does have a pretty predominantly dark and light squad here. And this is going to be a slow bleed. I'm assuming this battle is going to end in 10 turns. I don't see a way that they can shoot through Whisper in time. Imperil comes out, drops the elemental resist, so that's kind of nice. But his standard attack from Celis is just going to tickle her. And if I had a fast forward button, I would be hitting it. But this is a good moment to tell you guys, if you guys are enjoying this comment or this content, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. So anyway, as this fight finishes up, Whisper, can you perform some sort of miracle? The answer is going to be no. I can promise you that. Sleep Blade comes through. It actually doesn't go to turns. Mr. Aloha finally chews through the Whisper, and Mr. Aloha is going to proceed onto the next round of the Toilet Bowl bracket. Speaking of which, let's go and check that bracket out. But before we do that, huge props to Zathria. Thank you so much for playing all season. Thoroughly enjoyed having you in this. I hope to see you in Season 3 as well. And let's check out this bracket. All right, guys, so after the first round of the Toilet Bowl, this is how the bracket shapes out. So Pineapple Pizza with the upset, the 9 seed beating the 8 seed, won 2-0 versus the Ghost Bloods. And because of this upset, I will actually be facing Pineapple Pizza. And the way that I structured this bracket was basically, if the favorite wins the match, then it should be a Rundle versus Heinler match in basically every single game up until the grand finals. If there's ever an upset, that is where there will be some division on division combat. So Mr. Aloha and I had a series already earlier in the season. I ended up winning that series 2-1, but it was a good series. I'm looking forward to the rematch. It should be a lot of fun. And the winner of our match will play the winner of the Spaghetti Western Mavericks team versus All Smoked Up and the Goomy Gods. Obviously, Goomy Gods receiving that first round bye because Jabba and the Sappers dropped out. Spaghetti Western receiving the bye because he was a 6th seed. That should be a very, very interesting matchup. Two really, really solid teams. On the lower half of the bracket here, we've got King Delita's Black Sheep Knights winning 2-0 versus Catra of Sandrock. Disqualification or not, he won both games, even with the kind of cheating going out from Catra and Sandrock. And I have a no cheating policy in this league that you basically get kicked out if you're cheating. However, I don't consider this. He told King Delita beforehand that he was going to just have fun with it and that he automatically wins the series, so it's not actually cheating. He's just kind of goofing around. But anyway, he still won the games 2-0 even with that, and he goes up against a very tough opponent in Jesus LBL and the Straw Hats. The winner of that match will play the winner of the Corpse Brigade, Willie Goats' team, and Bebop's crew, Spike's team, after Spike wins 2-0 over Unhindered in the Stormborn. So should be a hell of a second round here. We're going to have 4 best of 3s. That should be really, really interesting. I'm almost guaranteeing that there will be a 3-game series. I think a lot of these series should be competitive and it should be fun to watch. But thank you guys so much for watching. We've got, I think, 3 more rounds of the Toilet Bowl, and we're gonna have 3 rounds of playoffs. So you can expect sometime soon that I'm going to make a playoff video, basically analyzing the draft and stuff like that. And then next week at some point will be when the playoff matches, like videos start and stuff like that. One thing I will say, though, is that the playoffs, rather than the Toilet Bowl, are best of 5, so they may not come out every Tuesday, Wednesday like I do regular season videos. I might have to allow some of those players a little extra time to get their series in, because 5 games obviously takes longer than 3 games, and I don't want people to feel rushed. I would rather have the series be competitive than people feeling like they have to rush to get everything done and the matches not be as interesting. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Look forward to the playoff draft video, and look forward to next week, second round of the Toilet Bowl. Should be interesting. So thank you guys so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.